Up, what do you nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today I am bringing you a hashtag Super Kami Fantasy Guru video, and it is going to be on the news about Russell Wilson signing his big contract, and this comes from NFL.com. I'm going to mention what the contract entails and give you my thoughts on the contract, and I know a lot of Seahawks fanboy trolls are going to give me a lot of shit for my opinion, but I will also give you my thoughts on, because they do compare it to Aaron Rodgers' contract, I will give you my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers' contract as well, because I think his contract is pretty outrageous too. So let me give you the breakdown of Russell Wilson's contract, just in case you don't know. So basically his contract extension, I should say, comes from Ian Rappaport. It's a 4-year contract extension worth $87.6 million, and the deal includes a $31 million signing bonus and $60 million in guarantees. And Wilson's $21.9 million average per season over the course of the extension comes in just under Packers star Aaron Rodgers' $22 million, which currently is the highest in the NFL, at least until the Colts' Andrew Luck gets a new deal. Which I want to say this as well, mention this before I continue. I think knowing how Irsay negotiates or produces his contracts, if you looked at how he did his contract, Irsay did Peyton Manning's contract, I think he's going to do a pretty big contract for Andrew Luck as well, but I'm kind of hoping that Andrew Luck will be really humble and take less money, because if you notice how Peyton Manning operates, because he actually isn't he's not in the top 5 for highest paying quarterbacks. So if Andrew Luck is the kind of quarterback I think he is, I think he will take less money. That's what I'm predicting. I think he will take less money, and so the team can keep more players. That's what I think, anyway. The $60 million in guarantees is on par with what Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton, aka #overratedbizarro, earned on his 5-year extension earlier this offseason. And Wilson's contract sets him up to make $3.1 million more than Newton, $200,000 more than Ben Roethlisberger, and $1.3 million less than Rodgers over the 4-year time frame. And this is if all the quarterbacks pay out their current deals, which I kind of hope changes. And I believe Ben Roethlisberger restructured his contract. I don't remember if he did or not. So if he did, please correct me if I'm wrong, comment section. By signing just a 4-year extension, Wilson will just enter the final year of his deal at just 30 years old, giving him an opportunity for another big payday. And the shorter deal was a concession by the Seahawks, and this is per Ian Rappaport. And then according to Rappaport, the full terms for someone who has seen the deal breaks down to $31 million to sign, and base salary in 2015 from $1.54 million to $700,000, $12.342 million in 2016, includes $840,000 from a 2015 base, $12.6 million in 2017, $15.5 million in 2018, and $17 million in 2019. And Wilson, he is a 3rd-round pick in 2012, has had one of the most impressive starts to a career by any NFL quarterback. Through 3 NFL seasons, he ranks in first in total wins, 42, playoff wins 6, and Super Bowl starts 2. He's also 2nd in passer rating at 98.5, and 4th in total touchdown passes, which is 84, and Wilson has conducted the most game-winning drives by a quarterback since entering the league in 2012, which is 15. And much consternation was made in NFL circles about whether Wilson deserved a humongous contract and whether the Seahawks could afford paying the quarterback a top-shelf deal. And the Seahawks' answer Friday was a resounding statement. And franchise quarterbacks are the greatest commodities in all of professional sports. And the Seahawks knew they had one, and now they'll pay him like it. And the thing is I want to say about this contract, first of all, is I really don't think Russell Wilson is a franchise quarterback, and this is why. Because if he was a franchise quarterback, wouldn't he have gotten the Super Bowl MVP in when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl against the Broncos? Instead, you know who got the Super Bowl MVP? Some random player on defense. Yeah, I believe the franchise, because what do you think of when you think of the Seahawks? I think of the defense. Or Marshawn, what do you think of when you think of the Seahawks on offense? I think of Marshawn Lynch. That's the first player that comes to mind, for me anyway. And the thing is, a lot of Seahawks players will argue that, and I haven't had this argument yet on Twitter, and I probably will have this argument eventually, is that a lot of Seahawks fans are going to probably say, well, what about Jimmy Graham? Because we got Jimmy Graham now, there's going to be a lot more passing. And the thing is, Jimmy Graham, I saw a while ago on NFL.com that the coaches are going to make Jimmy Graham a blocking tight end, and that he's good at being a blocking tight end. So that's the problem. He's a blocking tight end. He's not a passing tight end anymore. If he was a passing tight end, I would completely agree with the agree with you Seahawks fans. He's going to get a lot of catches. There will be a lot more touchdowns. But no, he's not going to be a passing tight end. So your argument is completely invalid unless the season plays out and proves to me otherwise. I don't see it happening. I don't see Jimmy Graham being at the same caliber as he was on the Saints. He's not, because the reports say he's not going to be a passing tight end at all. So you just and look at his numbers last year. He didn't do squat on the Saints. So yeah, I think that this team is a run-based offense, and it's mainly Russell Wilson running. It's mainly Marshawn Lynch running. And yeah, the numbers look great, and you know what the key thing is to that is the offensive line. Now, let me give you my thing about Aaron Rodgers, and I will say the same thing about Russell Wilson. I believe Aaron Rodgers is extremely selfish for not restructuring his contract. Because if you look at Peyton Manning and if you look at Tom Brady, and as much as I don't like Tom Brady for what he is doing right now with Deflategate, at least he is a team player. He restructures his contract. And so basically he restructures his contract so that the Patriots can retain more players. And that's what Peyton Manning does on the Broncos as well. They restructure their contracts. And I believe that Andrew Luck will do the same thing because he seems like a humble enough player that he will do that. And I just think Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are being extremely selfish on that front by taking these huge contracts. Yes, I'm not going to argue that Aaron Rodgers has earned that money. Don't get me wrong, he's earned that money, especially since he's been, unlike Russell Wilson, a Super Bowl MVP. And yes, you Seahawks fans can argue with me all you want that Russell Wilson has been to two Super Bowl MVPs, or 2 Super Bowls, and they were all back-to-back. You can argue that point with me all you want, but he lost one Super Bowl because he threw an interception, and he, at the very end, to a rookie cornerback named Malcolm Butler, and he probably, if they would have given the ball to Marshawn Lynch, he probably, for the touchdown so the Seahawks would have won, he probably wouldn't have been Super Bowl MVP again. It would have been Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch would have been a Super Bowl MVP. And again, in the first Super Bowl the Seahawks won, it was a random defensive player. It wasn't Russell Wilson. And Aaron Rodgers, the only Super Bowl he went to so far, he has won it. And not only that, he was a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, he was a Super Bowl MVP. So yes, Aaron Rodgers has earned that money. Yes, the numbers for Russell Wilson are fantastic, but the thing is look at the players that they have to sign. Cam Chancellor is being an asshole because he wants to restructure his contract and get more money. Bobby Wagner, his contract is getting close to expiring. Russell Okung needs to get a new contract done with the Seahawks as well. So are you not thinking about that, Seahawks fans? Really? You're not thinking about that as well? And I'm going to look at the and one of the people in the comments says, put any quarterback with that defense and running game and they will be successful. And I agree with that, and I somewhat agree with that as well, because you have the Legion of Boom as too. But again, you have the Tavares Jackson situation, and he didn't do squat. He really didn't. And someone else said he's not worth that kind of money. He is good, and I like him a lot. He is no elite quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to bash the kid. He is the kind of person the NFL needs as a person. But by no means is this kid worth this money. But I say the same. But I say the same for Eli and Cam too. None are elite leaders, and they are carried by a good running back and elite defense. Now you lose Cam and Wagner soon. Crazy. That's crazy. Seattle's in trouble with no Chancellor or Wagner. Mark my words. But regardless, congrats, Russell. You are a hard worker, but your winning team is ending very soon. And I completely agree. It's true. I think that's what I believe. I believe that it's going to end, because without that defense, Seattle is nothing. They are nothing. And same with the offensive line. They are nothing. And the thing is I don't agree with the Eli Manning thing, because there's a couple of things. One, Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowl rings. And yes, they beat the Patriots, but also they beat Seattle in Seattle. Yes, they did. The Giants and the Cowboys are, last time I checked, the only teams to beat Seattle in Seattle. So, yeah, Seattle isn't unbeatable. Okay, now let me get to Cam Newton. First of all, Cam Newton, or overrated Bizarro, does not deserve that money at all. He does not deserve that money, because Cam Newton has only been in one playoff game, and he got lucky because he was in a bad division. And the thing is, you don't want, River Antics was terrible last year, and you had the wide receivers dropping the ball like crazy. They had so much Butterfinger issues, and I hated you, Kelvin Benjamin. You caused me to lose so many fucking fantasy games. Because oh man, don't get me started on Kelvin Benjamin. Because when I had him, when I had him starting, he got me 3 points. When I had him on my bench, he had 21 points. And it's like, Kelvin Benjamin, you bastard. I hated Kelvin Benjamin for that reason. But Russell Wilson doesn't do that. Russell Wilson is not worth that money. Cam Newton is not worth that money. And I will say this, if Russell Wilson had a Super Bowl MVP, I would say he would be worth that money. I honestly would. And yes, as I said, Aaron Rodgers is worth every penny of that money. He is. But at the same time, I believe Aaron Rodgers should restructure his contract and be a team player. I think he's being completely selfish, and we would have probably kept a lot more players. Well, again, Devon House didn't even go to Ted Thompson the first day of free agency. That pissed me the fuck off. Trust me on that. But yeah. So, oh yeah, and Ginger Power, who's getting a lot of money, he doesn't deserve it either. He really doesn't. Oh, and one more thing before one more thing. Big Ben, he does deserve the money as well, because one, he's got 2 Super Bowls. Yes, or 3 Super Bowls, I should say. But yeah, he only won 2 of them, or they only won, the Steelers. Granted, the Steelers only won 2 of them, but he had at least 1 Super Bowl MVP. Russell Wilson has had no Super Bowl MVP. Granted, it took a little bit longer for Ben Roethlisberger to go to 3 Super Bowls, but again, he had a Super Bowl MVP. And Aaron Rodgers also has, what is the word I'm thinking? What was I thinking? Oh yeah, and Aaron Rodgers also has MVPs, season MVPs. Russell Wilson does not have that. He does not even have a Rookie of the Year. So, yeah. I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Russell Wilson deserves this contract at all? Or do you guys think that he should, do you guys think he's being selfish? And I don't understand why 4 years. Why 4? I think if it would have been a 6-year contract for this much money, I think that would have been a better deal. But then again, he's being extremely selfish, and yes, the Seahawks did a concession for him. They did the concession for doing a 4-year, and I know it's just, actually I do know the reason why. It's because he wanted to get another big payday. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and donate to my Patreon at patreon.com/PackerGirl. I will have a link in the description. I will also have a link in the description of the article as well. And remember to follow me on Twitter for all of the updates, and I will be seeing you nerdigans later. Bye!